Everyone, I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Tokyo 21, presented locally by IT&E. KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Tano Program. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on primetime, a total of 91 inmates and detainees have tested positive for the coronavirus at DOC's Manilao compound. Adriana Cotero has a story. Plus, what exactly is a COVID area risk score and what does it measure? And taking the stand today at Mark Torre Jr.'s trial is his father.
Hafadayan, good evening, everyone. 23 more inmates and detainees at the Department of Corrections have contracted the virus. What started out as an outbreak among corrections staff has quickly spread to prisoners. DOC Director Joe Carbolito says the number of COVID-positive cases is rising. Adriana Cotero reports.
It was just a matter of time, not if, but when.
As of this morning, a total of 91 prisoners from the Manila facility have tested positive for COVID-19.
It's a big concern, of course.
Department of Corrections Director Joe Carbolito says a majority of the inmates and detainees with COVID are from Post 16. And rather than transfer the individuals to an isolation facility, DOC, in communication with Public Health CDC, determined to keep them together in the same post.
I'm optimistic and I'm confident with, the plans that and policies that we have in place. It's just that there's some things that we just, don't have control over. And, it's a pandemic. It's eventually going to make its way in.
With the virus now inside the compound, the inmates and detainees with COVID-19 are being monitored twice a day by medical staff. Carbolito says so far all patients have been asymptomatic. Although should symptoms turn, then arrangements will be made for transfers to Guam Memorial Hospital. And should an overflow occur, Carbolito says something the plan since the onset of the pandemic is early release to contain the spread and lower the population.
We already have a list of the individuals that are eligible for either parole, early release, or based on their level of offense. If they're nonviolent offenses, then they may qualify as far as or be eligible based on the type of offense that they've committed. Of course, we're not going to go to the point where we're going to be releasing violent offenders. That's off the table. If I can remember correctly, there's around 25 or 30. That we've presented we've presented a list to our legal office already at ADLO, and they're going to be looking at that list to see.
As for the request for outside resources of tents and containers by Homeland Security and DPW, he says it's currently going through procurement. In the meantime, the department made an additional request to transform an inoperable dome on the jail grounds into an additional isolation and quarantine facility, explains Carbolito.
What we're trying to do with what we have already within our compound, and we're trying to make it work because time is of the essence. So I'm thinking outside the box. I can't sleep at night. I'm thinking about all the different options that I have. We're also looking at consolidating posts.
He adds 4 out of the 20-plus posts have reported positive cases and shares this message to the worried loved ones of those locked up.
From the inside out, I know that I know that the feeling that your loved one is in here and probably, going through a lot with, the amount of positive cases that we have in here. But I assure you that we're doing everything in our power.
Testing is underway at the Hagåtña facility. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
The frontliners at the Guam Memorial Hospital will have some extra hands on deck. GMH Administrator Lillian Posadas confirms the arrival of 5 additional staff from off-island. Posada says they continue to work with the Department of Health and Human Services to bring in more physician intensivists. She also says Guam is on the list to receive a small shipment of a new antibody treatment.
We have 2 medical physician intensivists that the DOD HHS sent over to help us out, although limited time. They're here for just 2 weeks. And as far as nurses, I believe there may have been 3 that came in over the weekend.
She says the treatment will be used as outpatient therapy at no cost. The 50 doses will be able to treat 50 patients. She doesn't have an exact date for the shipment, but says it should be here soon. The COVID census at the GMH currently shows 72 COVID patients hospitalized. Hospital Administrator Posadas says 15 of those patients are currently under an ICU level of care, with 10 patients on ventilator support. Of the COVID patients hospitalized, 10 are currently in recovery at the isolation facility in Barragata Heights. And the latest JIC report released late Wednesday afternoon indicates that of 690 samples taken from the public health lab, 101 returned positive for COVID-19. Guam's current case count is 5,755 infections since March. 1,997 people are actively fighting coronavirus, while more than 3,600 have recovered. There have been 91 COVID-related fatalities. Some 25,000 unemployed Guamanians could be getting an extra $1,800 payment before Thanksgiving Day. The Labor Department says it's stepping up the processing of checks for the Lost Wages Act. That's the executive order issued by President Trump that provides an extra $300 a week for up to 6 weeks for qualified claimants. In a news release, GDOL said its goal is to get all 6 weeks of the additional money paid out by November 24th. In order to do so, they're shutting down the PUA call center from the 16th to the 20th and detailing customer service reps to help with LWA check processing. The Federal Emergency Management Agency granted Guam about $45 million in funding for the program. To qualify, claimants must receive at least $100 in PUA. Dates covered are the weeks ending August 1st to September 5th. A new system of measuring how we're faring in the battle against COVID has some people confused. We asked a pair of Adelup representatives to help explain. Peter Santos has more.
This morning on The Link, Dr. Felix Cabrera of the Physicians Advisory Group held a PowerPoint presentation to help break down the newly set in place CAR score system. The CAR score, or COVID Area Risk Score, is intended to act as a measure of where the island stands in its handling of the virus. The CAR score takes into account the incidence of new cases, how well our testing identifies the new cases, and the rate of spread. As of November 12th, the island's CAR score stands at 37.5. According to Dr. Cabrera, getting the island's CAR score down can happen relatively quick.
This first wave, when we were at like 27.5 CAR score, we got it down to 5 in 13 days. And that's when everybody, that was with the stay-at-home order. And so in 13 days, we went from 27.5 down to 5. And so that's important to know that we can do this in a very rapid fashion. And just like the United States Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, said to us that we really can do this. If we just commit for a minimum of 2 weeks, that we really can get this suppressed.
The current suppression goals for the island's CAR score are to get the score below 5 and maintain that through Thanksgiving for a minimum of 2 weeks, with an ultimate goal of keeping the score below 2.5. Press Secretary Crystal Paco San Agustin spoke on the change from Adelup's initial recovery plan.
So the Chalan Patahanamla plan, that was early on in our response, and we do recognize that there are some shortcomings with that plan, because it was meant to go one way and not necessarily back the other way. So that initial PCOR plan was mostly toward the goal towards recovery, but once you got back into response, it became very difficult to meet those benchmarks, those triggers you talked about. And so we're going to go back and reevaluate that. The Strive for 5 campaign really just simplifies it.
In a recent statement from Adelup, Governor Leon Guerrero said that if Guam can keep its CAR score down to 5 consistently in the coming weeks, she may be inclined to lift certain restrictions in time for the holiday season.
And so the Joint Information Center, we are committing to putting that CAR score, making it very visible with our nightly reports so that the public can gauge, okay, this is a good CAR score, this is a bad CAR score, just like your credit score. You know that if you're 700 and above, creditors really look at you and they want to give you loans. And so that's the same thing. Incentivize this, because the holidays are coming up, birthday is coming up, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up. We don't want a repeat of this all through 2021. Even with the promise of a vaccine, we want to make sure that the people of Guam can manage the virus.
With the recent surge in positive cases, many believe that it'll take a miracle to bring our CAR score down in time to lift restrictions for the holiday season. But even if we can bring the score down, the concern still remains. With more lifted restrictions, how well will the island do at managing the virus? Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Peter Santos.
Guam could be getting its first supply of the COVID-19 vaccine Regeneron in the next 2 weeks. Physicians Advisory Group Chairman Dr. Hoa Wen says they still have plans for a COVID clinic to administer the antibody. It's the same one used to treat President Trump after his infection.
It's not here yet, but once it was here, and hopefully we'll have it soon, is that it can be given as an outpatient. Hopefully, again, the term COVID clinic are coming up. The question is where we're going to put it. So a lot of detail will be discussed. I think with public health, with the surgeon cell and the hospital, to see what is the best site to administer this IV infusion.
The group is scheduled to meet tonight for its regular weekly gathering. The airport authority confirms an 11th employee has tested positive for COVID-19. In a news release, GIAA Executive Manager John Kinata says they have initiated contact tracing to determine if any other employees may have been infected. However, he says airport operations continue uninterrupted and thorough sanitation of work and public areas are underway. He says restricted entry to the terminal and safety and protective measures that were implemented last month remain in place. We'll be back with more news right after these.
We value relationships because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
We are in it for the long run, so you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today.
I'm Michael F. Nicholas, and I approve this message. Our public service has always been about building a future for Guam and for our children. This election, let's come out and vote for them.
Get going with GTA Prepaid Unlimited. It's easy to load. Simply press *488#, send, select 2 on your screen, and then load. And with fast LTE data, you're able to quickly connect and share to your digital world. Plus, with reliable service, you're able to connect with loved ones whenever, wherever. GTA, we start with you.
Half a day, I'm Robert Underwood. There's a runoff election in order to choose who will represent you in the U.S. Congress. The incumbent. It may be the most crucial decision in the lives of our families for the next decade. As we meet the challenges of the pandemic, we need relief for our families and an economic recovery package for small businesses and workers. We must ensure health care for all and give our young people the educational tools to succeed. I have personal relationships with leadership in the House, the Senate, and the new Biden administration. I promise to use those for your benefit and to never let you down. You will never hear about investigations during my service. This is the time for all of us to make a serious choice on behalf of our island. I can meet the challenges and the opportunities in Washington, D.C. next year. I humbly ask for your vote. Si Diyos maasi, maraming salamat po. I'm Robert Underwood, and I approve this message.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Guam Police Lieutenant Mark Torre testified today in the trial of his son, Mark Torre Jr., a former officer accused in the shooting death of a fellow cop. Torre Sr. was pressed on the timeline of events that occurred at his Jigo residence 5 years ago. Adriana Cotero reports.
It was in the early hours of July 13th, 2015, when Lieutenant Mark Torre woke up to a call from his daughter-in-law, asking him to come downstairs. Upon exiting his Jigo residence, Lieutenant Torre saw his son, Mark Torre Jr., or Marky, standing outside his son's pickup truck, and fellow police officer Albert Piolo, laying on the hood of the truck, back pressed on the hood, shirt off, with his hands and arms wide open. Lieutenant Torre testified in Judge Arthur Barcinas' courtroom today that as he got closer to the scene, he saw Piolo and Marky embrace one another and noticed a clear hole between Piolo's armpit and chest, but did not see any blood. Mark Torre Jr. is on trial for a second time for the fatal shooting of Piolo. He faces negligent homicide and aggravated assault charges. Defense counsel Jay Areola called Torre's father up to the witness stand this morning. He told the court that as he stepped closer to the two, Piolo yelled out, quote, "Lieutenant, please help me, they shot me," unquote. And immediately, he told his son to plug the wound. Torre Sr. testified he never heard a gunshot from that early morning, and once he approached, his son was applying pressure to the hole and did not have his firearm on him. During cross-examination, Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley played back the 911 call recording and asked Torre Sr. if it's clear. Piolo says, quote, he shot me, unquote. He confirmed the phrase, "he shot me." This trial is ongoing. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
I'm inclined to give your client the maximum sentence because he is a career criminal. Those were the words of Chief Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood to Assistant Federal Public Defender Leilani Lujan during Chris Perez-Calica's sentencing hearing today. Judge Gatewood said, quote, "It looks to me like Calica was sentenced 7 times in Superior Court and did not learn his lesson." The 28-year-old repeat offender was most recently arrested in 2018 for felony firearms possession. Attorney Lujan argued for a 30-month prison term, telling the court of his troubled past, including an abusive childhood, mental health issues, and drug addiction. Addressing the court, Calica apologized and took full responsibility. He explained how he wants to turn his life around and has since found God. He was ultimately sentenced to the maximum term of 37 months and 3 years supervised release with credit for time served. A Guam Waterworks Authority employee has been fired after being arrested Sunday for alleged drug use on the job. GWA issued a statement saying police made the arrest based on information provided by management, and the individual is now under investigation. The employee was served a notice of termination and suspended without pay pending the outcome of the adverse action process. GWA says it has a zero-tolerance drug and alcohol workplace policy. The legislature held a wide-ranging oversight hearing on the Department of Revenue and Taxation today. Discussion included updates on tax refunds and Azuda Mangafa program and real property tax collections. Revenue Tax Director Daphne Shimizu also talked about how they're trying to modernize their systems. You might be familiar with the stereotypical references about the long lines at the DMV. Shimizu says expanding online services, especially during this COVID pandemic, has been one of her priorities.
Where we want to get to, where, again, driver's licenses can be renewed online, Guam IDs can be renewed online. You don't have to necessarily come in for those. We knew that we needed to give our people options, and that's why, we are where we are today.
Director Shimizu says vehicle registration renewals have been one of their success stories. She says 2 years ago, about 6,000 people renewed online. In 2020, that number surged to more than 20,000.
So that means that was 12,000 less people that walked into our building. And so for us, I mean, if you even just kind of look at it and just, think it's a whole year, that's 1,000 less people that had to walk into our building every month on average.
Shimizu is working directly on the system's enhancement procurement to keep the initiative on track and on deadline. President Donald Trump and President-elect Joe Biden took time out on this Veterans Day in the mainland to honor those who served. It was the first public appearance by the president in nearly a week. Natalie Brand is in Wilmington, Delaware, with more.
On a rainy Veterans Day, the President and First Lady visited Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, alongside the Vice President and Secretary of Veterans Affairs.
Present all.
In Philadelphia, President-elect Joe Biden and his wife Jill laid a wreath at the Korean War Memorial. Biden's trip to Philadelphia, a city that helped him win Pennsylvania, came as President Trump has continued to lob unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud at that state and several others. So far, the president's legal team has not given up its court challenge over late arriving ballots in the Keystone State. But Biden's margin of victory is on pace to keep Pennsylvania, even if those ballots are tossed out. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign has also filed a new lawsuit in Michigan, with over 230 pages of affidavits claiming voting irregularities.
None of these accounts are first person. None of these accounts were brought in a timely fashion.
Georgia's Secretary of State announced a full hand recount of every vote to ensure the validity of the results.
It will be a heavy lift, but we will work with the counties to get this done in time for our state certification.
Georgia's 2 Senate races will determine balance of power. Both are headed for runoffs in January. Meanwhile, Republican incumbents in Alaska and North Carolina have won their races. CBS News also projects that President Trump won Alaska. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Coming up, details on an upcoming virtual conference hosted by the Diabetes Control Coalition. Keep it here.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your 4th meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
Are you looking to save? Here at Cars Plus, it's Black Friday every day. You'll love our entire Hyundai SUV lineup, like the 2020 Hyundai Tucson, ranked Best Compact SUV by J.D. Power in 2020. Drive home in your new Tucson starting as low as $158 per paycheck, equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. That's right, there's only one place to shop for your SUV this November. It's here at Cars Plus. Call us at 477-7807 to schedule your appointment today. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Okay, so what are we thinking today?
I just need a trim.
Okay, well, luckily you are in great hands.
Perfect. The $1 stylist deal.
Is that it?
That's it.
Or you could get a real deal. McDonald's buy one, get one for $1 deal is here. Buy one of your faves and choose another for just an extra $1. Choose from the Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder with cheese, and 10-piece chicken McNuggets, but only for a limited time.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
with the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Welcome back. The Guam Diabetes Control Coalition is planning a virtual conference to keep islanders educated and safe. Here's a bit from their interview with Bree and Chris on this morning's The Link.
Maybe not even just diabetics, but people who are thinking, oh, tomorrow I'll stop eating rice, or tomorrow I'll cut out my midnight snacking on Snickers bars. No names.
Yeah, the last few months, I'm calling it the COVID weight gain everybody's going through, and so as we're gaining weight, that's also probably increasing our risk factors too.
Are you finding that a lot of diabetics and other patients with maybe chronic illnesses, and we can just run through, and you can all take a shot at answering this, are they not going to the clinics just to get their regular maintenance, to get their checkups? Because that's what we've been hearing, throughout the pandemic since March, is that, they're not going to get the checkups, and then maybe a lot of them are catching COVID and showing up at the hospital when, they're already at death's door.
Yeah, of course, I cannot speak for all the other doctors, but even just in my practice, which is, in natural medicine, nutrition, patients are hesitant to come in because, they just don't want to go out, and they're quite afraid of just exposing themselves. So only those that feel more comfortable, or those that feel a little bit more secure. So I think that's also happening with all the other doctors around the island.
Agnes? If there's the opportunity for telehealth for those who are reluctant to actually physically go to the clinic, and I'm not too sure how many people are availing of this opportunity, and I know some insurance companies are covering it. At least Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, it's covered for those who have Medicare. So, telehealth is another way that they can connect with their provider. And that's what the coalition is trying to do, trying to let people know that you need to connect with your provider to help, bring your blood sugars under control. Ann Pobutsky, the territorial epidemiologist, will give one of the talks, and she informed us that over half of those who have died from COVID-19 had comorbidity of diabetes. So that's really alarming for us. And as the coalition, we were just brainstorming ways to reach these people. Perhaps this conference might do it. We also have PSAs going out that we developed that we'll try to put in the media really consistently with the phone number that they can call. It would be the GRMC Patient Education Department. They so willingly agreed to have their number put out as a contact for people who want more information, who need more help, who need just some guidance. So we're very grateful for them for doing that. And I just want to put it out there that people, you need to control your blood sugars, your blood pressures, and you can do it. Connect with your provider, connect with people, and unfortunately, the way we do things on this island, it's more personal, one-on-one type of thing, but under these circumstances, we cannot. And unfortunately, we have to rely on technology.
Coming up, your Cold Stone Creamery birthday shout-outs. Don't go away.
When I need to pay my Docomo Pacific bills or manage my account, all I do is visit mydocomopacific.com. It's easy to set up. I just visit the website and click on the link to set up my account. I filled out the registration page starting with my account number. I received a text message with a temporary username and password. After making initial changes on my security settings, I'm in! Now I can make payments or manage my Docomo Pacific account without needing to leave home. With Docomo Pacific, we're better together.
Are you looking to save? Here at Cars Plus, it's Black Friday every day. You'll love our entire Hyundai SUV lineup, like the 2020 Hyundai Tucson, ranked best compact SUV by J.D. Power in 2020. Drive home in your new Tucson starting as low as $158 per paycheck, equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. That's right, there's only one place to shop for your SUV this November. It's here at Cars Plus. Call us at 477-7807 to schedule your appointment today. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
On Thursday, November 12th, happy birthday to Russell Randall. Happy blessed birthday, honey. Love your wife, mom, and the fur babies. Martha Sablon gets birthday love and hugs and kisses from the entire family. They say, please stay safe, Martha. When we wish you a special day and we hope you enjoy it. John Vincent Chaco, happy birthday to you and your family, says simply, they love you. That's the best. Zaya Mendiola, happy sweet 6th birthday to our little one. We wish you an amazing day and we love you so much, baby girl. Love mommy, daddy, Gavin, Gage, and Sienna. And we have a single belated birthday wish. Tonight is going out to Nevea Marian Ignacio, and that's spelled heaven backward. That is awesome. Happy birthday to you as you turn 5 years old. We're wishing you a very special day. We love you. Say mommy, daddy, sissy, mama, papa, Nino Isaiah, Uncle Ricky, Uncle Ross, and Uncle Dryan. We hope all of you have a fantastic birthday.
And to join the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club, just register online on KUAM.com. That's our report for tonight. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be safe out
Local Music Mashup is brought to you by Burger King. Be your way.